and I'm the owner of the Kemp Building at 105 Northwest 5th Avenue. I'm here to talk about micro-communal housing units, or MCHUs, which is an affordable housing option for individuals making less than $35,000 per year. At the state, the county, the city level, all the discussion on affordable housing is for people making over $50,000. But what I'd like to do is talk about why 22% of Delray's households, 10% of the population deserves more consideration and more focus. And so I really want to present my comments on the practical reason why there's a community interest, not just for altruistic reasons, but why we need to pay attention and really focus on this sector of the population. Reason one is reduced homelessness. By our last count, we had 7 micro-housing units at this. It's grandfathered in at the Kemp Building. 5 were homeless right before moving in. 3 of those 5 had been there for 5 or more years. Reason 2, low-wage workers provide an important labor pool for restaurants and other service industries. Our businesses thrive when there's workers that have more proximity to where they work downtown. Reason 3, and again, according to the U.S. Census, and this is a staggering stat, 5 of 6 renters that make less than $35,000 a year spend more than half of their income on rent. Lower rents for low-income people mean they have more money to spend on other services such as food, entertainment, and clothing. So then they're no longer poor, but they are low income. And that's also another benefit for other businesses, local businesses, that receive some of that spending. Reason 4 is our communities are more stable when there's low-income people. The most transitory segment of our population are stable. Long-term residents of a neighborhood are less likely to engage in crime or other nuisance behaviors, more likely to be involved in civic-minded activities. So my question is do we want to be a community, when I hear some of the rhetoric of people where we regard low-income people as kind of, we have the elites of the town and then the low-income folks go back to their humble dwellings, some other community? I would suggest that not only as a community do we want racial diversity, but we also want economic diversity. And the MCHU proposal is one step in that direction.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners and staff. Chuck Helberg, 120 Northwest 4th Avenue. The set, better known as the West Settlers District, and even more defined, about 50 feet, where I live, is about 50 feet east and about 100 feet north of the Kemp Building that Mr. Jetta was speaking about. So I'm here to just talk a little about that. My wife and I have been to the facility, living here 31 years. I had no idea that's the group of people that lived there all these years. We've lived in the house for 2.5 years. We've never had a problem with anybody, and we're here to say we're in support of providing these units for people. I want to tell you a little story real quick because I did a little research, speaking out to some veterans and to some other people. So there's a woman, Jennifer. That's not her real name, though. She served in the Army in the mid-90s. She was medically discharged, diagnosed with military sexual trauma, as are 30% of all women veterans. She also diagnosed with PTSD and rated 100% disabled by Veterans Affairs. Jennifer lived in Delray until 3 years ago when she moved to Martin County because she couldn't afford to rent here. She left her community and started over and still struggles to rebuild her community. Her legacy statement is, be grateful and pray, help others and volunteer, laugh off and never give up. Jennifer is the sort of resident every city should want and would benefit having in the community. Statistically, there are 120 other Jennifers and 990 male veterans who also live in low income in Delray. Each veteran who moves out of the area to afford housing takes their skills and military experiences, plus $11,000 in annual VA disability payments, which is about $11 million if they were all to leave here. Delray Beach needs housing that low-income veterans and others can afford, or risk losing these community assets to other counties where they can afford to live. Veterans are used to making do. The micro-communal housing units at 105 5th Avenue are clean, safe, and have amenities, including high-speed internet. As I said, 2.5 years, I've never seen police activity there. Not saying there isn't, but I've never seen it like other areas of our town. So don't make it untenable for low-income veterans and others to live in Delray. And that's what I'm here to say.
I'm Nikki Bernard Turner. I live at 915 Auburn Circle North, Apartment H here in Delray Beach. I'm here to speak in support of the Kemp property, and the proposal of the Jetta Investment Company. I support the proposal because it will address the needs of huge, undeserved populations here in Delray Beach that live in, as I said, Delray Beach. According to the U.S. Census 2021, roughly 22% of the Delray Beach residents live themselves and earn less than $35,000. And I myself is one of them. Hate to talk about this less income. That's roughly, as I say, 700%. And just happen to live, and like I said, current discussions, community level, county level, and it seems like there's nothing being done to this. How can we help myself, like people like myself that make less than $35,000? If this pertaining to affordable housing, I don't see where it is. How, according to myself, like I say, $500,000 in the Kemp property. This is also to help others also. As I say, I support it.
I'm here to support this project on Southwest 5th Avenue because my uncle Northwest 5th Avenue, but my uncle Marion Williams also has the same concept on the south side of 5th Avenue. And people need somewhere to stay. To me, if these communal housings could be built all across Delray, it'll really fix the issue of housing for single individuals rather. For $500 to $600 a month, my lights, my water, my internet, all that included. I mean, the CRA might need to take a look into that concept. Find ways to make people live comfortably, whether they have families or not.
Just commenting on the Kemp property. I'm a commercial realtor, but I'm very much affected by what happens in the residential real estate markets. Our current house price median is in the $425,000 range, just to give you some context of how important it is to have housing for people that have minimal income. So it's very important, and what he's doing is excellent. So congratulations.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Tanya Kushaki, and I live at 441 32nd Street in West Palm Beach, Florida. I'm here today on behalf of Delray Beach-based Jetta Investment Company, and I'm here to urge, respectfully, one member of the commission to direct the city manager to add their proposal to the next available city workshop. As you may know, the agenda, which calls for three things: more affordable housing, historic preservation, and the set revitalization. As you may know, there are 7 micro-communal housing units currently in use at 105 Northwest 5th Avenue, informally known as the Kemp Building. They have existed since about 1960, and the rooms at $550 a month rent continue to be a lifesaver for people in Delray Beach. They're clean, safe, and truly affordable. Earlier this year, the City of Delray Beach finally created a formal process for citizens to submit LDR amendments and posted it on the city website, thank you, stating that a commissioner must publicly request a topic be added to the workshop. And that is why we're here. Can I get a show of hands of people and the folks who support Jetta Investments' proposal for the Kemp Building in Delray Beach? Thank you. So all we're asking is for your permission to start a conversation to talk about adding 7 units, one elevator, couple bathrooms, and some communal space, and some green space, and a kitchen for people so they can cook their own food. We're also asking your permission to name this building after a local businessman and entrepreneur, Thomas Kemp Jr., a World War II veteran who built the building, and he himself lived in the MCHU until he was 98 years old and passed away in 2017. We would like to preserve his name on this property at a memorial to preserve his legacy in perpetuity with your permission. And finally, we would like your permission to help us restore a minority-owned small business to the commercial space on the historic 5th Avenue with services that appeal to the local community and adds value to the historic neighborhood. I've spoken to a lot of people in the community about these proposals, and quite frankly, the response is, how could anyone say no to that? How could you say, no, you don't deserve a kitchen? No, you don't deserve an elevator. No, you shouldn't be living in this way, and no, we don't want to revitalize the set. It should be easy to say yes to those things. dozens of people in this community have said yes, many of which are here. We have over 100 people who have signed a letter that we will send to you shortly who support this effort. So let's start the conversation. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can help people now instead of waiting for other things to be done first. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, as we say in politics. This is an opportunity to do some good now for people who need it now. So I respectfully urge a member of the commission to do just that. Thank you for your time and your attention.
I am here to support the Kirk Jeter and his project to convert the Kemp property on Northwest 5th Avenue to 14 low-income communal spaces. Delray, as with all of Florida, is struggling to provide affordable housing for all people. While many Delray residents have not only one, but two luxury homes, this commission and the CRA need to open their minds to every person having a place to call home. Affordable housing should be top of mind and prioritized by CRA, this commission, and the Delray Housing Authority. While businesses are needed, people that don't have a home cannot think about owning a business. Housing must be put at the top of Delray's agenda before businesses that appear to be the priority of the commission and the CRA. Thank you.
I stand here as a resident of Delray, a lifelong resident of Delray, and currently the chair for the Affordable Housing Board here in our city. I think it's imperative that we support this Kemp project, as we all know that we don't have a strategy in the city that will support the lower income residents of this area. So I'm just asking, I'm standing here and letting you know that we're supporting this project as well.
Good evening, everyone. Charlene Farrington. I live at 314 Northwest 2nd, but more importantly, I work at 170 Northwest 5th Avenue, which is directly across the street from the Kemp project. And I just want to go on record as saying that I am in full support of the project. The Stadium Museum Board and staff have been brought up to speed on the plan. For those of us in the room who knew Mr. Thomas Kemp, we know that Mr. Kemp would have done something similar. It was in his nature to take care of his neighbors as long as they were willing to help themselves. This is something that I think would be good for my neighbors. I know the people who live there now, and I will know the people who move in after the project is complete. Some of them are our eyes and ears in the neighborhood. Some of them help to protect the museum grounds. Some of them call attention to anything that is untoward on the block. These are people that I am happy to call my neighbors, and I'm here to ask you to please start the process or continue the process of getting this project done. And I want to thank you for the time that you spend working on my behalf. Thank you.
Yvonne Odom, 3905 Lawson Boulevard, commissioners, mayor, staff. I'm here for two reasons. One, to support the young man as everybody else, because my brother, who is a Vietnam veteran, my dad was World War I, but Vietnam veteran, and he could be an ideal candidate for that type of building. I appreciate him coming and explaining to us. When I say us, he came to the elders table and gave us a very good overview of some of the things I didn't realize, even though I knew Mr. Kemp, I knew his son, and I know some of the people that live there, and I support that because those of you know me know I support housing. That's what I believe in, and I think we have to have all kinds of people in the world, and to help people who are making less money to be able to pay their own rent. These are not people that rent is going to be paid. They're working people. They have jobs. And I support it.
What I really came to speak about is the Kent building project. We had an opportunity a couple of weeks ago to stand here and celebrate the statistical success that we are having with the challenge of homelessness in our community. That challenge is being met because we're finding places for people who are unhoused to help them have housing. Thus, they no longer are homeless. some of the people that we have been able to place has been at the Kent building, and they have thrived there, and they have been able to get the self-sufficiency so that now that they're contributing members to our community. The work that Kent Jetta and is work that needs to be done, and it's another way that Delray Beach can differentiate itself from other communities because we're a community that cares about everybody. And so I hope that you will give an opportunity. I know there are issues to discuss about this project. Let's have an opportunity to have that discussion. Let's have a workshop, and let us as a community help solve this problem.
And I had the honor of serving on the comprehensive plan along with Ms. Odom and probably some others in the room. That document, I think, proved to be quite wise and prescient about coming trends in Delray. I know our city planning staff spent many, many long hours on that. I know this commission spent many long hours on it. And one of the major elements in it was housing. And the housing really did address the fact that we were going to have a coming problem of costly housing and people unable to afford food, transportation, and a roof over their heads. I think what Kurt has proposed is one solution to that, and that it's one that should be tried out. It's actually been tried out and proven. It's the idea now to really institutionalize it. But that city comprehensive plan really talked about multiple solutions. And I think when Ezra talks about housing, he also talks about multiple solutions. And the plan said, if I recall correctly, that we need to try some creative ideas, some old and some new. It talked about duplexes. For many years, we tried to eliminate duplexes, but under current circumstances and the way prices are going for construction materials, duplexes are worth looking at again. Same with mother-in-law homes. Those were very prevalent in this city at one point in time, and the city has over time tried to reduce those. It also mentioned congregate living and working with congregate living. That is what I think Jetta Investments is proposing that we do, and I support it wholly.
I am also here to speak in support of Jetta Investment Company. The first reason is because there is a critical need, and also because they have the courage to talk about an invisible population. If we are fair, when we say affordable housing, we're talking, and he used the numbers, 50,000. Truth be told, that number is somewhere north of $90,000 in today's market when you look at workforce, and maybe as low as $60,000 of what you need to have to live in this community. But a significant amount of folk who live in this community, many who live in the set, do make less than $35,000. And their needs are constantly ignored. This illuminates that. Not only does it illuminate it, it also offers a remedy, one that should be considered. The second is that it is a good complement to the set transformation plan, the entire model, in terms of how it begins to activate one of the identified commercial corridors, Fifth Avenue, and how this model then integrates commercial, hopefully a restaurant that is needed to activate and bring foot traffic to an area that is pretty vacant. It will complement the work that you are doing in what our community calls the Bain property, right there. I think you call it 98 something. But it's right there, and we need to figure out ways to bring foot traffic down. What better way than to support this project and have that come through to our neighborhood? And then lastly, it honors an area of town that many of us who live here and have lived here will view this as the Black Wall Street. If you know the history of Delray, you would know what North and Southwest Fifth Avenue mean to our community. Now, there are folk in here, Mr. Ernestine isn't here. We used to have dances there. We used to have parties there. My grandmother was a church woman, so she wouldn't let her children go. But let me just tell you, that was a good avenue. We want to bring that back. We don't just want to see it happening on downtown. We want Fifth Avenue to pop like Pineapple Grove. Allow them to start that trend.